After the mass shooting at a Florida high school, gun control efforts gain new momentum. Florida recently enacted tougher gun restrictions into law, and some rather loud voices and demonstrations from student activists may have made the difference. Amy Tra is a professor of law at Yale Law School. She's author of the book Political Tribes, Group Instinct, and the Fate of Nations. Professor Tra, thanks for joining us. So why did you use the word tribe in your book title? What are you suggesting?
Well, we're human beings are very tribal. That's just we're hardwired to want to belong to groups, and that can be fine. Sports groups, church groups, family. The problem is when tribalism takes over the political system. And that's what we're starting to see today, because once people connect to a tribe, you want to cling to it and defend it no matter what. And you also start seeing everything through the lens of your group. And facts start not to matter. For example, with the shootings, the mourning of the children, the victims, was barely over when suddenly both sides of the political spectrum retreated into their tribes, started to call each other names, and that little bit of progress, that we're trying to make often is just stopped.
I've been reporting for over 40 years now, and I've never seen anything quite like this, covering politics and so forth. It seems that younger Americans especially are seeking identities through multiple social media platforms. So how significant is that in influencing their behavior and their political activism?
It's extremely significant, along with cable news. What's happening is that Americans, there used to be a much more of an overlap between even Republicans and Democrats. They would have more similar views on immigration, on religion, all kinds of things. But right now, everything is much more extreme. For example, the Democrats' views on immigration is way more extreme. The Republicans is extreme at the other end. And the young people, when they go onto social media, they basically just pick people that have their views already. And they get ads about things, about movies and books that are already their point of view. So they just get more and more entrenched. And often, in order to get the most likes or the most clicks, it's not good to just come up with a moderate, reasonable point of view. Look, we are playing with fire here. Sometimes it might just feel good to make the other side feel bad, but we're really talking about our country and whether America can stay America.
It seems like there isn't dialogue anymore and reasoned, gentlemanly debate.
I think it's extremely important that we be able to talk to each other. Right now, we're at the point where we see people who voted for the other side, not just as people we disagree with, that we want to debate with and argue with, but instead as immoral people, evil enemies, not American, or people of different religions can have their religious identities flourish, and yet they can still be American. And that's what we need to get back to. We don't need to choose. It's not like we need to, force assimilation and not let these subgroups flourish. We have the formula, we have the apparatus, but it's just that there's a lot of hostility right now, and people almost don't want to reach out to the other side.
Yeah, I can't help but think that social media has aggravated a lot of this and has caused this polarization, all these multitude of voices. So how is all this likely to affect the fate of the American nation then in the years ahead? You and I know a nation divided cannot stand. So what do you think?
I think we need more voices like perhaps yours, and I actually think they're often quieter, the wiser voices. Actually, I think that religious groups can often do a lot if they can be a bridge, and other voluntary associations that America has always had so many of that would be cross-cutting. That is an organization that isn't just all one race or all one political party or all one view about immigration. And we're getting to that point where people are just separating into two rigid camps.
And we're all Americans, are we not?
We are.
Yes.
As an immigrant's daughter, my parents love this country. They were liberated by Americans in the Second World War in the Philippines. And, they just want to get back. I mean, we're a minority, but it was always like this was the country that gave us opportunity. We love the values of the Constitution. It's the values of the Constitution and just humanity that really should unite this country, not these subgroup identities. And so we do need to, I think we all need to elevate ourselves. All of us can be very angry at different points. And I think we have to, even individually, have the will to say, you know what, I'm going to try to see this other person as a human being, as a fellow American.
And I think we need more professors like you. So thank you, Amy Chura. Thanks for your insights today.
Thank you so much for having me.